one.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Shawn Patrick Green,
It's your man, Constant Battle.
and this is the Shawn P Greene Show.
I thought you were going to say this is not the shout
No,
out. This is not the shout out. It's just horrible music this time. That's what we're in the era of. And no, I'm not saying we're in the era of horrible music, but I would imagine.
Constant Battle
Yes, sir.
is a rapper
Something like a
from
rapper.
Buffalo, New York,
I'm definitely from Buffalo, New York.
and my phone is old,
Hmm.
won't join. All right, so
Okay.
my brother Legacy, also known as Brandon Green, is also a rapper from Buffalo.
Wait, were you going to say P? I felt like you were going to say Brandon P. Green. Is his middle initial also P?
No, it's not. It's not P. P. Paul. So what I'll probably do is I'll just call him back right now.
Okay.
Just give me a second.
Yeah, man. Do
See, I
what
got the
you gotta
chat maybe.
do. Is he gonna chat? Or
Wants
are
you
you
to
saying?
chat.
Is it,
Yo,
there you go. Uh oh. I did
are
something.
you there?
What I do?
Okay, we won't. It's not. It's not good for this signal.
I see.
I can't use a phone. Yeah. So
Yeah.
listen, I'm gonna bring on Constant Battle real quick.
Why didn't the link work?
Bam.
Did it say anything about why the link didn't work for you, Brandon?
So he's saying his phone is too old.
Oh, sorry to hear that. You mean like your Wi-Fi network? It actually told me that it told me I had to open mine in Chrome. Like open yours through Chrome or
Ah,
whatever internet browser. I couldn't just like do it right through, like the Facebook message he sent me. I had to. Yeah, so I'm surprised it didn't tell you to open Safari. Mm. Mhm.
so maybe it's just Safari is not as compatible as Chrome. No, I wanted you on, man, because
Right,
I mean, this would be a great program to introduce you,
right.
since a lot of people do know you from Buffalo,
Yeah,
but anybody who does not from Buffalo know who you are. This would be a great opportunity to get you on. So um, maybe your maybe your laptop could be something you can log on to it with. Is that possible? Well, yeah, we'll get her on.
here you go. Like we were gonna have Brandon, but instead we have.
We have the Offspring. So yeah, and but by the way, the cell phone, if I bring it close to the interface, it makes a little staticky
Makes a lot.
noise. It's like major interference. That Wi-Fi signal is killing it. So we don't want to destroy the entire signal. So, but so Brandon, anyways, Legacy was your rap name for several years, right?
Yes,
We
we
are
are.
live now, yo.
That's right. That's right. So let me ask, why did you stop? Because that was like news to me when you just said it. Why did you stop?
Life made so basically Legacy was something that was created in the late '90s or early 2000s. The title for your name. Ah, so initially you were starting a band, and then you were DJing under the name DJ Legacy, and basically from that you were producing, and then you started rapping alongside of some of your people you were producing for. Yes or no?
Sit there like he's interrogating them. Yes or no? Answer the question.
Like I can't even hardly call it producing. It was like accidental recording, if you will, because I was working at a radio station and I just started goofing around with the production. And like I said, I was trying to do DJ stuff, and then I was like, man, you know what? I could probably rap. So I had records with instrumentals, and I was kind of learning how to DJ. So I just started writing kind of raps. So I was like, oh, this is cool. So even when I first started doing raps, it was still kind of DJ legacy. But I mean, I guess if you fast forward a few years, then yeah, I started producing for other people. But originally, I just wanted to make my own beats because I wanted to have original sound and I wanted to rap. That was kind of my original intention. And then I liked producing, and I kind of didn't like my own voice, and I preferred hearing other people. So that was kind of why I liked producing for others and make beats for them. That was really how I started collaborating.
Okay. Let me ask you two more questions then. One, where was the radio station at? Because I didn't even know you worked for a radio station. And why did you drop the DJ? Why didn't you even just rap as DJ Legacy?
I don't know, just I didn't. Well, go back to your first question in terms of the radio station.
Mm-hmm.
It was an AM radio station, and it was originally it was country music, and I wanted to work in radio, so my mindset was I'll take any job that'll get a foot in the door, get me kind of started in this sort of an industry, see where it goes. And they switched formats to news, talk, and sports, which there was no music at that point, but they still had a production room. And I was like, oh, I can goof around in the production room. So I just kind of learned how to do more like radio format commercials and things like that. But
Now, was that here or were you already in Florida by then?
this is Florida.
Okay.
I was still a teenager actually when I started. I was 16, but I always had an interest in music, and I didn't really think living in a small rural town I'd really do music.
Mm-hmm.
But I did kind of get into it, so it was pretty cool.
Got the bug.
I mean that's kind of really the short of it in terms of what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the radio, or not the radio, but the rap name Legacy came from, like I said,
Bless
DJ.
You.
So I didn't intend initially to rap. I more intended to DJ and do radio type stuff.
Okay.
Kind of more like Shawn. Shawn had a friend that DJ'd. I wanted to kind of do stuff like that and then do the radio, but then I just kind of found myself liking like producing, and me and my friend would put together like goofy tapes, like I don't know, not like crank yankers, but more like.
That's funny.
What's that?
I said that would have been funny.
Well, we did do a couple calls, but I couldn't really prank call from the radio station because I couldn't have that get traced back there. But we would call different people and patch them in. They had a reel to reel. They had like tape decks and all that kind of stuff, and they had turntables. So we would put a music bed, and then we would goof around and create different characters and do voiceover and sketches and stuff like that. It was all audio. There was no video. Had I got into video, that would have been pretty cool too. But then you would need props and all that other stuff. So I imagined things more in an audio realm. But that was just like I said, goofing around. And then I said, man, I could probably rap. And then I took some of the instrumentals that I had and started kind of writing. So that was pretty much how I started.
My brother, I would have to say though, is the one that got me doing radio type work. Really.
Okay.
I mean, even Brandon would tell you that back in the day, as we were growing up as kids, our father would be recording. I mean, he would use like cassette tapes and then reel to reel tape recorders and stuff. He would record like skits or music or whatever. And I think that whole thing that he used to do got me interested initially. And then my brother, a little bit later, just in sound design, if you will.
Right.
That's one way to describe it. Engineering and doing that kind of stuff. So I thought that was interesting. That from all these years, we ended up getting into some sort of audio recording. Then he got hired on at that radio station just north of Tampa, WWJB. So it is 1450 AM. The
Right. Yeah.
format was
WWJB 1450 AM.
the format was country, but they also did local sports. They did some Tampa Bay games and stuff like that, and eventually became news talk format.
Right.
So
They did Gator games, like you said, local football games. I remember working there when they would patch in the Moreno High basketball games. They patch in actual Gator um, baseball and football games, but the patch came from the. Well, we covered it locally. We covered the local sports. Some of the guys that worked at the station and patched it to the booth, and I would put it on air. But then they would have a feed from like the Gator Radio Network. We put it on air and all that. I got to kind of man that. I don't know if you ever manned any of those things.
Gene Deckerhoff, man, was a great
Yeah,
announcer.
but he was FSU. Oh, but he was also Tampa Bay, and they
He was the
broadcast
Bucks,
Bucks
yeah.
games. Yeah.
But Gene Deckerhoff was awesome, man. He inspired me to be a part of broadcasting as well, just with his talent. I don't know. I never really recognized the world of AM radio until going into this station where my brother worked. Was it about 2 years after? When did you start? What year?
I started in '94. It was
Did you
the
really?
winter. Yeah, the winter of '94. I was 16
Wow.
years old. I had a friend that was like, we'd drive home from school, from high school, drive by the station like all the time, and he's like, he knew I was into that stuff. And he's like, you should just go apply, man. Just you never know. And I was like, dude, I'm 16. Nobody's gonna hire a 16-year-old. He's like, come on, you don't know. So I went in there and dressed up nice. I was like, hey, can I have an application? You know, they gave me one shift on a Sunday morning. It was 6 hours, and I can't believe they ever did that. But it was just playing. It was putting church programming on. But then I got kind of into it. It was fun, and then I asked for more, shifts and picked up a few more here and there. But it was cool. Yeah.
So
Just
I think it was
into it.
the Christmas of '98 was when I think that I first initially joined you guys, and that was just for one day. Like the 24-hour Christmas music playing for a couple
Oh,
days, right?
did you? Did you? Is that when you started during Christmas? Playing
Christmas
music
of
at that point?
'98 is when I first started working at JB. Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny because I started for a couple of weeks, and they basically nobody that worked there wanted to work on Christmas, so they were like they just needed somebody willing to have no Christmas life and just work there and play music. And I was like, yeah, I can do it. 16. I'm not getting nothing for Christmas anyway, Bert. And yeah, 98. So I did. I think we must have alternated shifts or something. Yeah, no, I remember now. Like I was working and you'd come in, and I'd leave, and I'd come back, and then yeah,
We
I
did
think
that for a couple Christmases, and then eventually you stopped working there.
yeah, because I went to New Orleans to go to college. I
Right.
left in '99. I
'99.
did
Yeah.
that.
So that's when I pretty much took over the Sunday morning spot.
You took your brother's job?
No, because he left.
I left.
I didn't take his job.
You took it.
I
I'm
just
joking.
filled in for him after he
Right.
left, and I
I
stayed
was
there only for 2 years, I think, at the most.
Mhm.
And then I basically was let go.
I tried to like do more there, but you either had to be like a sales guy,
Yeah.
and do it professionally,
Yeah, the world of
or
radio, terrestrial radio, is very difficult to maintain if you're not multi-level, facet of running the organization. Either you're managing it, you're an engineer, you're on air, you're a board operator, you're in sales, you're doing something remote. You got to kind of do a little bit of everything to keep the station afloat. Even for a small market as Brooksville was, it did have a good reach. A couple 100,000 people. Um,
oh yeah, absolutely. Locally up there, like
yep.
you said, you got introduced to radio or AM radio. I didn't really think anything of AM, and then it's really like its own
Mhm.
AM news talk, stuff like that, um, money talk, and all that kind of cool stuff that they played back in the day. But yeah, anyway, for me, I was going to college. I was young, so
You went to the School of Urban Missions in New Orleans,
I went to some college.
some college. That's what SUM acronym.
Hmm.
So he went to some college in New
I
Orleans,
went to some college in New Orleans.
I only went to some college.
and basically the idea was that you were there to go for like religious studies, or what was the specific purpose of going to that one?
Oh well, so I was transitioning into at this point, like he was asking me about rap, how I got the name and all that stuff. So I was also trying to kind of get out of doing that sort of radio. I wanted to do more music as well. Um, I wanted to DJ and be involved in like Christian arts and Christian media. So, and I wanted to be involved in ministry. Kind of all of them intertwined. Um, I was really at this point very gung ho and was going to go to Southeastern College and do their communications program. But it was like I can't remember what it was a year. I think it was like $25,000 or $30,000 per year, and I was like, holy cow, I'll be in debt forever. This is in the '90s, and
Oh yeah,
so
it's a lot.
Imagine today.
I found SUM, which was at the point not accredited, but they were in the beginning stages of becoming accredited. They were like, oh, it'll be accredited, you'll have a degree. I was like, oh, but it was very cheap. So it was something that I could actually like pay for as I was going, or whatever loans I took were going to be like minuscule, a couple $1,000s or so, like drop in the bucket compared to going to a major university. And so I wasn't 100% sure, and I didn't think there'd be a lot of money out there in that kind of a career. So essentially, it was Christian arts and ministry related. So then I went to SUM. I figured I'd get a good ministry foundation, and then I'd be exposed to more urban culture and multi-ethnic. Because New Orleans was it was like 60-something% African American, and then the next was like I think 20-something white, and then you had like Mexican and Asian. So you had that, and then you also had the universities that were there, and they were very interracial. So I thought, well, this would be a great exposure to, because the campus itself was small, but you're going to school with, like, it's not predominantly white. That was another thing that I wanted. I wanted
Yeah, soldiers, y'all ready? Yeah. What? Right, left, 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 right, left, 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 right, left, left, high, what, high, yeah. Battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry, my battle cry, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry, my battle cry, yo. I'm a natural, man in me raw, like the days of old, I'm seeing the walls of Jericho fall, down on the ruin, godly treasure is what I'm pursuing, even man back the way, me and the army coming through, and we ready to rumble, dude, get back what the enemy stole, and one of the people about to bring stone in the fire, I wait for those that choose to rap the liar, instead of the one to slide and fly, Jesus Christ, the one and only, ruler of my life, the one that suited me up, the fire, get the devil in the stream, man I ain't swerving, but nothing will deeply rooted in my face, so dog I ain't watching, I'm a decision maker, and I done made up my mind, I'm about to cry, make no, for the rest of my life, I shout, rap, quest, always and forever, all around the world, let it be known, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry, my battle cry, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry, my battle cry.
You know there ain't no shame in my game, cause I'm lifting Jesus' name. Since the Spirit touched me, I've never been the same. Murdering, moving, yoke, destroying power of God. His word is born, he sends it forth to do his bit. Never fails and never skips. I'm putting on that whole armor, ready for the devil's drama. Ain't going in like a fire, or Diablo's son is strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. I recognize in his wiles, I get ready to fight. You know I stand upon the rock, and the devil got no stock. I them flaming arrows if the shield of faith to block. Since I got in doom and I'm pursuing it, you know I read the great commission and now I'm doing it. Cause the fight we fight is not with flesh, fight we fight is not with blood. Battle worldly darkness and spiritual wickedness in the high places, out of spaces. See the demon behind them happy faces, cast them out without no traces. It don't matter what you heard, Jesus Christ ain't never scared. Seeing ain't believing, get your eyes checked, your vision blurred. God got some opposition, but the foe got no position. Hellbound, sinner, and Christian, make that transition.
Battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry, my battle cry, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry, my battle cry.
You better warn the surrounding nation. Put your ear to the floor to feel the vibration. Listen for the trumpets playing, like in the book of Revelation. Oh, we done took vacation, now we back for action. So show your faces. Got the Holy Spirit with me, he's got a list of you kiddies. You put your finger right on it, yup, you're all guilty. So here it is, your head is blood red from the bloodshed. Release my kids, or suffer the consequences and be defeated. Don't make me get forceful. If I turn the yoke, you gon' need more than just oracles. That's it, you done took my patience. Damnation is your eternal existence.
Battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry, my battle cry, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry the day I die, this is my battle cry, my battle cry.
Fast forward
I came back to the Tampa Bay area.
It's legacy. I'm here with Deep Productions, lacing the track. Know what I'm saying? It's the green light, y'all. Y'all be in my way, man. I'm trying to get somewhere. So y'all need to get off your duff and let's get this thing cracking. Green light, y'all, don't sit still. Green light, y'all, move for real. Green light, y'all, don't just chill. Green light, y'all, what's the deal? Green light, y'all, don't sit still. Green light, y'all, move for real. Green light, y'all, don't just chill. Green light, y'all, what's the deal? Let off the clutch and I mash the gas. Get over to the slowing cause I'm about to pass. Keep it moving, I roll with sun pass. Driven with a purpose on my engine, gotta outlast. All too often my foot hit the brakes. Pulled out the race for some devil food cake. Ponies on my tail and I just wanna shake. Christ is a juice I inject, so I take. Deleted his pack, I ain't holding back. Got the truth and I ain't gonna slack. Therefore I'm a priest to your section. Separated and I got my protection. My message comes from election. He was crucified and then he resurrected. Both fuel gauges detected. Engine trouble, better stop for inspection. Green light, y'all, don't sit still. Green light, y'all, move for real. Green light, y'all, don't just chill. Green light, y'all, what's the deal? Green light, y'all, don't sit still. Green light, y'all, move for real. Green light, y'all, don't just chill. Green light, y'all, what's the deal? Stop. Nah, y'all ain't hearing me. Ring through the light like you part of the tyranny. Red, yellow, green, make it clear to see. Signs of the times like messianic prophecy. Don't miss this, ain't about the biscuits. Close your fistus and break your wristus. Now grab that steering discus. Your life, that's all the risk is. Y'all question what might happen. Not much till you stop that slacking. Hopes and dreams and all to the future. Ain't nothing till you move with the groove, y'all. Beats bumping, God is up to something. Give it the flow, it's time to jump in. This traffic, oh so drastic. Hop on the bus, so you melt like plastic. Green light, y'all, don't sit still. Green light, y'all, move for real. Green light, y'all, don't just chill. Green light, y'all, what's the deal? Green light, light, y'all, don't sit still. Green light, y'all, move for real. Green light, y'all, don't just chill. Green light, y'all, what's the deal? Let's go. Y'all moving too slow. The light turned green, but you just ain't know. Your face is all in your cell phone. Radio mirror, wonder why the horn blowing. Can't stand when I'm following slow posts. Much respect, but I gotta pass old folks. Smile at you, but I'm really thinking up jokes. Uh-oh, gotta get some Pepto. Dismal, you're driving this dismal. Cut me off, y'all, where's your turn signal? Getting angry like I'm moved for Rick, hold it back, no rage, it's for real, no. 55 and I just can't lie. 70 zone, it makes me wanna fly. Stuck here, asking God why. You pray for patience, was his reply. Green light, y'all, don't sit still. Green light, y'all, move for real. Green light, y'all, don't just chill. Green light, y'all, what's the deal? Green light, y'all, don't sit still. Green light, y'all, move for real. Green light, y'all, don't just chill. Green light, y'all, what's the deal? Tampa, y'all got the green light. Miami, y'all got the green light. Shayville, y'all got the green light. New Orleans, y'all got the green light. Mobile, y'all got the green light. Nashville, y'all got the green light. New York, y'all got the green light. Buffalo, y'all got the green light.
I would imagine that. I mean, a lot of people did end up going to Houston. A lot of people went to Houston after all that. Couple years after.
Hebrews 12, 1-3. Therefore, since we have so great a cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let us also lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race. Let us press on, y'all, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and was set down at the right hand of the throne of God. For consider him who endured such hostility by sinners against himself, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. So press on, y'all.
I press on in this world. I press on, that's for sure. I press on, will not turn. I press on. I press, I'll let the Spirit do the rest. I press, I ain't got no reason to stress. I press, I'll let the Spirit do the rest. I press, I ain't got no reason to stress. Humbra, now where you been? Seems to me been caught up in the whirlwind. Poor little boy been kicked in the shins. For some time been looking for a friend. Here he is now, don't you know? Broken down and you're looking for a toe. Bill time and you're looking for the dough. Help me out, man, I just don't know. Where or when will it ever end? Wrote this email about to hit send. End of my rope and I'm on a dead end. No Xbox, this ain't no pretend. Stay on the road cause the heavens dividend. Hebrews reads are great witnesses. To quit and miss him, that would be ridiculous because of sin and entanglements. I press on, in this world I press on, that's for sure. I press on, will not turn. I press on. I press, I'll let the Spirit do the rest. I press, I ain't got no reason to stress. I press, I'll let the Spirit do the rest. I press, I ain't got no reason to stress. Trials and tribulations happen, surely as you hear me rapping. But the key is not the trapping. Be strong, don't get caught napping. Be alert and vigilant. Purpose for just one intent. Be sure he'll make his descent. Second coming, you're best to repent. If that hurricane blew you out and caused you pain, don't stop your living and giving. That fuel can keep you driven. In my tank of life, I feel Christ. Mad diesel, tank on the right. Didn't end when I said green light. Wasn't over when I spit the good fight. I press on, in this world I press on, that's for sure. I press on, will not turn. I press on. I press, I'll let the the spirit to the rest. I press, I ain't got no reason to stress. I press, I let the spirit do the rest. I press, I ain't got no reason to stress. Things look so good now, don't they? When I look to you, won't they? Just turn from shades of gray. Blackness, darkness fades away. Into God's word I turn now. My goal in life I learn now. Straight from these pages, sure now, comes that strength that I earn now. My joy and peace are from you. Safety from all that's untrue are hidden in your refuge. Foolish people try to test you, but God will not be silent for too long on those who are violent. And when they see your justice, all will cease their vain discussion. Press on. In this world, I press on.
Went by the rapper name Legacy, and he has, I mean, we're 30 minutes in already, and hopefully the audio for that is acceptable. I mean, we did have a little issue having a cell phone near the interface that I'm using to broadcast the audio of these interviews. So, bear with me if people are watching, listening, and so forth. But
it gives you that analog feel. People love that.
Yeah, we're
that
still
full analog feel.
We're still in the old school days somewhat right now. We're getting there. We're going to get all super computer wise and videos and everything. But
why is my mom calling me right now? From her
because she
household.
sees your face on YouTube.
Right.
No, so
she knows I'm busy. I don't have
she's
to be
like
home till 6.
You better not have any friends.
Yeah, no, that's not what she's saying.
Yeah, that's what your mom always says.
No.
Better not be doing anything that's productive in your life.
That she might say.
So, anyways, let's get back to you, because this is actually the first time that you are on the so-called
Shawn
P Greene Show.
Yeah, man.
So this is your first official episode.
Right.
And this is technically episode 3, really.
Okay.
And this is your first official episode
Top 3
on here.
Right.
So real quick, I'll recap. We did a show called The Shout Out.
Just Good Music.
And that was since 2012. I did that for about 4. We had this argument on the show about when and how long and whatever. So it's been 3 years since the last broadcast that I did with you guys.
This is true. Yes.
Okay.
We're
and the one that Maine and you did on the side that never made it to Maine, I never even seen it or heard it, so I'm not worried about it.
Neither are we.
So it's almost like, one of those sports teams that are suspended. I don't consider that, a legitimate win anymore. You know what I mean? Like somebody's got a national title and they got they got suspended for something, so their title stripped away.
Right.
So in my opinion,
never happened.
The shout out never happened.
That season
after
anyway.
Me. Yeah. So anyways, the shout out was our podcast.
I would agree with that. It's
mostly predominantly audio. And we had maybe one Periscope, couple Instagrams. One Facebook Live. So we weren't.
You brought up Periscope. I had to think about what you was talking about. Like Periscope. Oh, right.
Periscope is part of the Twitters.
Do people still use Periscope?
Well, it's still out there.
Well, that means yes.
It's still out there. So I did use it once to test this out initially, thinking that, well, there'll be nobody that'll watch it anyway, so I'll just try it out because it's an opportunity. Can you see the chat from your side? No. Okay, I see, because my brother's on there. Shootout. They got script. No script.
No,
so
I can't even scroll the way this phone is.
So basically, we did the shout out. We did one episode like this kind of format. And just to test that out, see if that's where we're going to go with it. But long story short, this is where I'm going with this show right now.
Okay.
And I figured, let's just do this. Let's continue doing this. Basically building the new brand, the Shawn P Greene Show, which is just my real name.
Right.
And I'm going to get a stylist so I look hip.
Instead of Fudge, it's just Shawn.
Fudge has been my nickname for decades.
You got that Spider-Man 3 hairdo right now. I
got no hat on. This is my what did you call it? What's my hairstyle?
Oh, I was joking. I said the Spider-Man 3. Remember Tobey Maguire when he had like the black
Oh
suit? He
yeah,
had the way he
yeah.
had his hair.
I
Yeah,
had the Venom
there you go.
Spider-Man hairstyle. So here I am starting this whole fat format. The last show we had Jason John Beebe, a local actor, on.
Hmm.
Our show went live, like the whole recording,
Hmm.
3 hours and 20 minutes.
That's a long time.
It was, but we talked about a lot of stuff,
I
and that's
didn't
one
need that
thing.
long
It's
time.
like I don't want this to be focused on music, whereas the shout out was focused on music,
Yes, it was.
and it was focused on like specific genre of music.
Hmm.
So, what we won't be doing is playing music on the show. We're just going to be talking
Okay.
because number one, once we put it on YouTube, I don't want to get a strike for
Right.
copyright infringement.
Which you know what I find interesting about that is like even if you have the licensing and the agreement to use it, YouTube because they don't know that still be like striking people and saying mute and then it taking it out like,
Hmm.
but I have permission to play this song. So what's the point? Why are you doing this?
See, that's the funny thing is like they want the proof, they want the
Right.
paperwork, all this other stuff,
Yeah.
and especially if you're, let's just say you have the copyright, but you're also published through someone else.
Mhm.
They might be the one that might flag it. You know what I mean? Like a
Right.
record label or something. So as an independent artist, you don't have total control. I mean, even
Right.
what T Dot, no, not T Dot, T Swift,
I have no idea who you're trying to say.
Taylor Swift
Oh, okay.
had a problem getting all of the rights because all the masters were owned by this other company. It was a major issue right before the American Music Awards that she wouldn't be able to perform her own music
Wow. And she just won
without.
artist of the decade.
That's what I'm saying. And it was like it was almost like the owners of the music was I
Mhm.
forgot the guy's name. He's not.
And they were like, no, she can't perform this.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was terrible. You know,
Very much so.
like how would you artist of the decade? How would you take that person's livelihood away from them so that you can show off your force?
Your dominance, right? You just want to flex some
Whatever.
power, right?
Yeah, I'm not down with that. But that's how the record industry works. That's how entertainment works. That's how music, movies, you name it. People that do stuff that's digital now, is completely protected somewhat.
Hmm.
Although digital thing feeds and stuff like that can go all over the world. The problem is, you know, the generation that grew up on hard copy media, before digital even had a hard time. I mean, everybody was copying off the radio with
Hmm.
cassette tapes. I don't know about if you ever did that, but
I
I used to.
absolutely did.
So
Man, the best mixtapes were the ones that were on cassette tape.
that's
I
right.
feel like those were better than even when we were like downloading off like Napster or LimeWire, whatever, making the mixtape CDs. Like, no, the ones that came off the radio, because you had to have skill. You had the time when the song was fading out. You had the time not getting the DJ talking like, trying to blend songs yourself. Those were the best.
I used to host my own tapes back in the 80s and 90s. No, 70s and 80s. And back in the day, WKRP in Cincinnati was a hot TV show.
Hmm.
I don't know about hot, but comedy wise. And I gave my name Shawnee Fever. That was my nickname, my radio host name, Shawnee Fever.
Shawn E.
And that was
Fever.
inspired by Johnny Fever, who was on WKRP in Cincinnati's, I think, night shift, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody can chime in on that if they remember it. I just think it was fun. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I enjoyed the process of putting music together, blending it, and then talking over it. No matter how good or bad I sounded, I just wanted to do it.
You were just having
I
fun.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So,
It was
and
for the love. It wasn't for like, oh, I'm trying to be this popular big name, Shawn E. Fever. Was it like a middle initial E, like Shawn E?
Shawnee, no,
Oh,
like Shawnee.
okay.
Like some people call me
Horrible.
Shawnee. Hey,
That's horrible.
Shawnee.
That's horrible.
Yeah, there's no E in it, just
Right.
Shawnee.
Just Shawn. Yeah.
Well, like the Indian tribe was Shawnee. So I think that's part of where some people got it from. But some people were just trying to belittle me as a human being by just giving
Mhm.
me a Y at the end of my name.
Right.
So I got into how some people were cruel to me at some point in my life. I think we're all cruel to each other, sometime. You know, most for the most part, some people were cruel to each other until this new generation came around.
Right. This new generation was like, no, you can't. You're not going to toughen me up. You're not going to give me thick skin. You will not prepare me for the real world. Okay. I will not accept this.
We
I'm going to
talked
go
about
cry.
the whole new.
It's, I remember about a year and a half ago, roughly, Maine said something that was very controversial. And it's like I didn't necessarily agree with him, but I understood essentially where he comes from. And he was like, a little bullying, nothing crazy, but a little bullying can be good for you because it'll tough you up, give you tough skin, and prepare you to handle when you come across, say, true critics or people who are really coming against you. Like a little teasing here and there, as a kid, like it should be fine, like, or heckling, even, if you will, or however you want to look at it, like, to toughen you up, like scrape your knee, get back up, on a bike or whatever, or however you want to use the analogy. But it's like too many people are running and crying. It's like this should be making you stronger, not making you weaker. But it's like you said, it's a new generation. They do things very differently here. I don't like it.
They don't. The thing is, I feel like the next generation wants to demasculinize males. Period.
Yes, very much so.
No matter how they want to do it,
Right.
But it seems like this generation is all down for doing that.
Hmm.
So, um, they're it's almost an attack on masculinity. I wouldn't say males
Hmm.
because that's a broad term these days, but I would say there's an attack on masculinity as a term as a characteristic,
Right.
in somebody's descriptiveness of who they are and what they believe and all that. So we had that discussion too,
Okay.
but I think you said Maine mentioned about the bullying thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's certain levels of bullying, and definitely critical level of bullying would be harmfulness to somebody's mental state for
Right.
sure.
Right. And he
Um,
didn't mean that. At least I don't think he did.
yeah, but like Dave Chappelle said, like at
Sticks and
one
stones.
time, yeah, I mean bullying is important. Who else said that before that though?
Mm.
Oh, Chris Rock said something about, everybody should be bullied.
Mhm.
That's how you
I
build
know.
character. I mean,
Makes sense.
imagine a house
Hmm.
of full of five brothers,
Hmm.
and for the mother, the father, anybody to say, hey, you guys don't bully each other.
Right.
What is the statistical chance that they will never bully each other in their entire childhood life?
I would imagine zero.
Brothers, for some reason, tend to be a little bit rougher on each other.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Whether it's truthfulness about it, or phically abusive to each other,
You
or
think brothers are
whatever.
worse than sisters to each other? Sisters to like
Sisters to
girls to
each other
girls.
are a lot more competitive.
Yeah, that's why I was like, when you said like brothers are hard, like, I don't know.
I'm
Sisters
talking
are
brothers fight. Like, if anybody's gonna ruin furniture in the house, it's gonna be the brothers.
okay. Okay.
Maybe the mirrors, the sisters. Okay,
Right.
I mean, maybe some flour or something in the kitchen,
Right.
throwing at each other. You just messed up my makeup.
Right.
How dare
Antiquing.
you? Yeah,
Antiquing each other.
right.
Remember that was a thing?
yeah, antiquing everything. All your Instagram filters were antiquing.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, bullying, is not a good term to use when it comes to brothers hazing each other, competitiveness. I mean, you got to love one another. If you want to go in the biblical way of doing things, you got to love one another.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you also have a duty to your siblings to create some sort of challenge for them to overcome,
Yeah,
learn how to overcome it,
exactly.
so that when you're in the real world with other people that are not in your family,
And we're not there. And I know this, and I'm an only child. But yeah, continue.
that you can learn how to cope with things that might hurt your feelings.
Right.
Whereas today, people get their feelings hurt.
Over
You
everything.
gotta down
Little thing though.
for small stuff.
Right.
It's just, it is kind of getting a little out of hand, in my opinion.
And then it could be something that wasn't even recent. Like how many people are getting in trouble for tweets from 10 years ago? Like 10 years ago, you
Right.
said X. Why are you looking at tweet?
Even
Why
the-
are you looking at tweets from 10 years ago?
Listen,
Like,
even this video
uh-huh,
10 years from now, if it's something that's, I'm saying now, that it will be
right,
completely 180 from what the culture will be
right,
like, it could be held against me as hate speech or something to
right,
that effect.
right. You're
Ridiculous.
anti-bullying. Bullying is the thing now.
Right. Anti-bullying is the
Right,
next movement. We're going full bullying now because we've realized that everybody's too soft.
right, exactly.
That would be
America's
fun.
gotten too soft. We're bullying everybody from now
The
on.
presidential executive order this week is that everybody must bully each other for 5 hours a week at any time they like. Minimum.
5 hours.
Minimum.
That's
you can,
I don't have that much time
you
on
can
my
go
hands.
180 if you want.
You cannot
180
do
hours in a
You
week.
cannot do 180 hours in a week.
180 hours of bullying. That'd be pretty. That's better than a job, actually.
Mhm.
That's 4 times more than a job.
Yeah.
Regular, real job. So you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
so it seems like every generation we have, I would say probably since the 1800s, is that it's not as extreme, but it's been getting more extreme. That 25 years is roughly a generation.
Right.
That whatever is popular during this moment for this generation, the next 25 years from that point, something is counterculture to that.
Mm,
I mean, it probably accelerates even more, like 5 years now,
right.
but generally speaking, a culture is birthed one year,
Mhm.
and the counterculture is birthed the next year.
Mm.
You know what I mean? That's what it seems like.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But it's almost like it's eventually we're going to cancel ourselves out to a point. Like, we can't even know what a culture will be
Right.
thinking in the next 10, 15 years.
Right.
I mean, it's going to be impossible,
Right.
because everything's wrong right now.
Everything. Everything.
And then eventually all that
It's gonna be
thinking
right.
is going to be wrong to think that was wrong.
Right.
Right. So
We had it right the first time. You know what I think is a perfectly good example of that actually is potato chips. When potato chips first came out in their natural, just cut up some potatoes, fry them up, add some salt, whatever. They were looked at as an unhealthy snack. The way that there's so many chemicals and so much stuff put in the snacks now, if you look at organic potato chips, they're now considered a healthy snack. Like, wait a minute, what? Y'all told us this was no good and fattening and blah 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 blah, and now this is healthy. Like, well, I mean, compared to the alternative, sure, yeah. It's like,
so what's next? I mean, we do have a lot of I mean, it seems that all these new things and ideas and policies or whatever is based on people's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think about that? I mean, how do you respond to trying to cater to everybody's feelings? There's so many different types of feelings out there.
I don't.
How do you cater to that?
I don't.
I mean, think about it. In the corporate world,
Mhm.
it's like everybody's more aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm hearing even in the military, it's
Mhm.
changed dramatically.
Mm-hmm. No, I hear what you're saying, but it's
How do you
like
win?
you don't, especially if you're trying to cater to everybody. So it's like try to be the best person you can be. I'm not saying intentionally go out and hurt someone's feelings or do something
Oh, of
malicious.
course not.
I'm not saying do that at all. But just as people say, stay in your own lane. If you stay in your own lane, just try to be the best you can be every day. You know, you're probably gonna be okay. Like, unfortunately, you're probably still gonna offend somebody at some point. If you feel strong enough about it, you can apologize or not, because if it's unintentional. If I did something that I 100% know that it you shouldn't be taken personally to begin with, like it wasn't even meant for you, or to be taken in that way or whatever, what have you. And I might feel like, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm not sorry for what I did or said, because it wasn't about you to begin with. So, like, that's what I mean when I say I don't try to. I'm not trying to cater to, because everybody's going to feel different. Everybody, of course, has free will, and you're free to think and feel however you want. One thing I always do is I tell people, like, you have the right to feel however you want. I could genuinely say, "Hey, good morning," but because you had a bad night last night and you feel like you're depressed, it's like, "No, it's not a good morning." You can feel that way. You could, if you want to feel down, by all means, feel down. I'm gonna keep on walking and go do what I was about to go do. Though I'm not about to stop it, and that's what people want. They want you to stop and oh, well, what's wrong? What? Why isn't it? And sometimes it's cool if you're close enough to the person, and like I said, feel strongly enough, then you might want to stop and have a conversation with that person. But if it's random person you see in passing that you don't even know like that, and all I said was good morning, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
keep
do
moving.
believe that it real. I don't. I mean, I'm not a complete psychologist.
Hmm.
I'm not a sociologist.
Hmm.
I don't understand everything that affects how people think and feel, but I, in my humble opinion, believe that the upbringing of a child has everything to do with how the child, when they become a young adult, reacts to the real world and how they feel, and if they get offended, offense or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, basically, it's parenting. It's basically parents even knowing to be able to, have the foresight to be able to say, listen, when you get older, somebody's going to say some bad things to you. All you got to do is just ignore them, something to that effect.
Right.
There's no warning sometimes now. It seems like it just feels like the parents don't prepare their kids for the real world. They prepare them for a strawberry shortcake place. I mean, that's an old reference.
Right.
A place that's nice. It's safe. I mean, the outside world is not a safe place. We just had the London attacks again, the knife attacks
I have no idea what you're talking about.
just happened in the last 24 hours. I mean,
So what's going on in London?
and some three guys jumped out of a car and knifed down some people, and one of them died as a result, and one of the guys that the attackers was pinned down by observers, and they you know he been initially he died, so I guess
The original attacker died, or the
there's three
person who?
attackers. One of
Oh,
them
there's
died,
three attackers, and
and
one of
then
them
one of
died.
the victims also
One of
died.
the
So
victims died, and one of the attackers died. Gotcha.
several people were stabbed and injured. So seems like London is the place for knife attacks now.
Hmm.
And we're going back to, we could say Americans are stupid for having a Second Amendment, but the Second Amendment was to protect the citizens from its government. But it also gives the ability for a person to stand their ground against any other type of attack.
Hmm.
The problem is we have too many guns circulating in the world, and so now we have people with that are illegal carrying guns. So there's a plus and a minus to having that. However, in London, they don't have, they took away their guns years ago, and as a result, they don't have a Second Amendment like we do here.
Hmm. Do they have any amendments? To my knowledge, they
No,
don't.
I don't know what their parliament
Right.
complete rules are, but they don't have the gun rules that we have
Right.
here.
Okay.
They
So
don't,
they don't have bare arms on their walls. Do you ever
right,
see that episode of Family Guy? Like, who's going to confuse this? Everyone has a right to have bare arms on their wall.
right, right. They also don't celebrate Fourth of July. You know
I
that.
would imagine not.
So the bottom line, you take the guns away from your citizens,
Hmm.
then there's no guns circulating in the streets,
Hmm.
what's your alternative to being violent? Knives right now
I
at
mean,
this point.
there's no legal guns circulating the streets. I'm pretty sure there's illegal guns out
It's
there.
not as much out there because it's not a common. It's not common for people to be bringing guns into London as opposed to New York City. So it's a little bit easier to have a gun in America than it would be in England.
Right.
But they're using alternative weapons to carry out terroristic acts. And it's not meant to be one particular religious group. It's just extreme people doing extreme things. And they will find ways to hurt people, whatever it takes. That's just their mindset. So, long story short, violence is out there.
Yeah.
We have a real world. It's some situations are tougher than others.
Right.
And if you want to raise your kids into thinking that the world is all fine and dandy and your feelings, should never be hurt by anybody, you're gonna have some rude awakenings in your life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right now there are some quote unquote safe spaces for some people, but
I love how you said that, quote unquote.
yeah, because it's a term that I would never have used. Um, in my opinion, safety is not necessarily um, a physical place, so to speak.
Okay.
And I think what they're trying to provide was a safe place in their minds.
I mean, unless you're playing hide and seek.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, a long time I played that game.
Yeah.
Um, all you could do is hope for the best. You just don't know how people around you are gonna be, and you just pray and pray for that God protects you and at least give you alertness and some sort of intuition into who's sketchy or you know what I mean, and
Hmm.
try to avoid people like that. But you don't avoid everybody,
Right.
just
Yeah.
because you think that person will do something to you
Right.
or run home to mommy and cry because somebody said I didn't like your hair color, but they didn't say it in a mean way. They just said,
Right. Like,
your hair
I
looks.
wouldn't have worn
Well,
that.
that's your hair looks nice, but I really don't like that hair color.
Mhm.
Oh, mommy, they don't like my hair.
Right.
What? You gotta be crazy.
Right.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about. When you're so emotional about the smaller things, there's a problem, and you got to prepare your child better. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And for people who don't have parents that have this understanding, I apologize to you that you didn't have that opportunity. But hopefully, we have wiser parents as we grow up. So, anyways, what's been going on with you? Anyways, we haven't really gotten to you. What you been up to? And
Well,
we
that
got
depends.
short.
Are we talking musically or in general?
I don't know anything. We haven't really talked about anything with you because
I know,
I
right?
mean, this whole show already has really been about my brother and
About the
then
Green family.
feelings. So,
um,
how do you feel lately?
right. Um, I mean, everything is everything. Working music, the story of my life, as always. You know, hopefully getting a new position at work soon. And I say hopefully because I know I'm going to get the position. It's the soon part I'm not sure of. I know I'm going to get this position. I've been training for it for months, but the company can be a bit of a revolving door at times. And so, like the position I'm going to have, and I work in the factory for people who don't know,
Hmm.
and we have three different lines. So the new position I'm going to be getting, I'm going to be like supervising or managing, like I'll be running one of the lines, like in its entirety from front to back. And so there's a mixing team, which is just two people. And I spent the last 3 weeks going in at 2:30 in the morning, training with them because they start at 2:30 in the morning. Well, they set up at 2:30, they start at 3. So I've been very tired because of that, as you'd imagine. And then, there's outside of the mixing team, there's 6 people on my line. I'm down 3. 2 quit and 1 was let go. So who do you think it falls on to pick up the slack and make sure everything is running right and everything else? Even though I'm only in training, it's on me right now. So I'm running the line with half of the people, and I'm getting it done. Is the crazy, and that's the unfortunate part. And I hate to say that, but the reason the fortunate, they don't see it as a priority to hire the people now because I can handle it running it at half staff.
See, that's what happens when you do too good of a
When you're
job.
exactly, and it's so funny because one of the maintenance people actually said that to me
You know what?
on
You're
Wednesday.
efficient. We're gonna make your two jobs into one
Right,
now, and you're
exactly,
gonna fulfill it both.
exactly, and I
So you're gonna
handle it,
pay me
and I do
double?
it, and of course they're not.
Of course not.
But the maintenance
It's
guy the other day,
capitalism.
one of the maintenance guys, he was like, "Dude, you've been coming in at 2:30 and staying until like 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Like I said, as a factory, we go until the end of their orders for that day." He's like, "Did you lose a bet or get in trouble? Like, what's going on?" I was like, "Yeah, the problem is I'm too good at the job." He's like, "Yep, that'll do it every time. Absolutely. You're too good, so they're gonna use you. You know." And it makes sense that the company will want to, but come on, like half the staff though. I'm short 3 out of 6 people. Yeah, y'all don't think I need to hire somebody? You know. So once they actually hire the other 3 people, I'll be able to go on to my next part of training. I already did. Like I said, I've been training for a couple of months already, and I learned mostly everything I need to learn. There's literally like one part of training left, but I have no idea when it's going to start because they don't know because it depends on when they hire the 3 people. Then you got to consider people actually got to show up for the interview, show up for the drug test, show up for the job, and they don't do that either. Like one of the 3, they don't show up for it. They either don't show up for the interview. If they do and they find out it's a drug test, they don't go for the drug test, which is kind of a good thing because they're probably not the kind of employee you want. Or they'll do that and then not show up for the job. Why would you show up for the interview and the drug test and not the job? Did someone tell me that? I know I can't see the chat, but if somebody can, I'll check it later or something. Why would you show up for the interview and the drug test, but not the job? But anyway, so there's that. That's work. Thankfully, I don't have to go in at 2:30 anymore. Starting Monday, I can start going. Which I was going in at 6:30 anyway, but still, 4 hours is 4 hours. That's 4 hours extra sleep. And then I'm trying to I don't even want to say ease my way back in. I'm trying to jump back in to doing music heavily because like I haven't released a full project in what will be 6 years by the time my next one comes out. Like I put out singles, I stay touring. I try to stay, relevant as far as that, at least have a single out there or have my face somewhere or whatever, what have you. But as far as releasing a full project, my last one was in 2014. So I do have an EP that I am releasing next year. And I also have a mixtape that I'm releasing next year. And I'm still debating on if I'm releasing them the same day or not. I might do the mixtape first. It's kind of like a quote reintroduction. But 6 years is a long time. Like even with singles, people forget about you. So I may do the mixtape.
Seems like those singles are what's carrying the industry lately.
That's true. And that's why I didn't mind it so much. Like even the project I'm putting out, like I said, is an EP. I'm not doing a full length, 14, 15 track album. I'm doing, a 7 track EP. And even with that, it's a song and a skit included. So it was only going to be 5 songs on the EP. Um, but like I said, I'm thinking about doing a mixtape. And the mixtape might be as many as 10 tracks, but a lot of them are just like one verse, track. So that's still not going to be too long. So
So you touring and all that stuff, or what?
I will be again starting in January. I intentionally took the rest of this year off, um, but starting January 25th. I mean, technically, we could say January 10th because I have a show here in Buffalo, New York, January 10th. But January 25th, I'll be in Waterbury, Connecticut. And then roughly once a month, I'll be on the road from there. Hoping to pick that up and get more shows, but as of right now, about once a month. Like I said, Waterbury, Connecticut in January. I'll be in the Hershey, Pennsylvania area the third weekend of February. Got a couple of shows that day, actually. That weekend, not that day, on Glory. In March, I'll be in New York. In April, I'm working on Detroit and Toronto for that same weekend, but nothing's official yet. And May, I'm supposed to be in Richmond, Virginia, but I don't really know what's going on with that because that person is not great at communication.
Is that when you link up with Kanye and his tour?
I wish. No. No, no, no.
Sunday
But
sermon with
Kanye West is the
Gospel
only
Battle.
celebrity I ever met. It that big, I should say, because I've met smaller quote unquote celebrities that's like people that's nowhere near around anymore. But like big name celebrity, I met him back in December of '03. and it was here in Buffalo. And the only reason I find that interesting because, as you know, I went to LA to finish school, and so it's like, how am I in LA and didn't meet a single celebrity, but I met Kanye West right in Buffalo, New York. You know,
I met Sam Elliott in San Diego, first
right?
celebrity that I can think of.
Wow,
Actually, no. I mean, Super Freak. I met him
right? Okay,
back in the '80s, which is he's a Buffalo native, Rick James.
yeah,
So that's the only real celebrity that I
there
met
you go.
prior. But see, now we're celebrities. So
Right, right.
if you met us, you met a celebrity
There
now.
you go. Well, I mean, and you know what? Now that you say that, I feel kind of bad now because it's like, I mean, I've met D Mob, I've met Bizzle, I've met Seven. But when people think celebrity, they don't think those people for good reason because it's not about if you know anything about CHH, you know the people I'm talking about. But if you don't know anything about CHH, then I just spoke Spanish to you. Unless you understand Spanish and it was some other language you don't understand. But and that's the point that I'm making. Everybody knows Kanye West. Everybody doesn't know Tadashi, who I've actually met as well. You know what I mean? So it's it's crazy. But like you said, local hood star over here, Shawn P Greene, had to go to his real name because so many people was catching on the fudge.
Yeah, I'm okay with that though.
All right, and I need to go.
6 o'clock.
Yep.
Are they paging you?
Yes.
What are they saying? If you're not here in 5 minutes,
No, not that, but I do need to go.
okay. All right. Well, I mean, hey, this was just like a quick, it's 1 hour program
Right.
this time.
Yeah, 1 hour.
It's not 3 hours like the last one
There you
that
go.
we did with the other guest.
It didn't feel like an hour either, to be honest.
See, these shows actually go by a lot quicker than we think. There's a lot to talk about. We had Legacy, my brother Brandon Green, as my first guest via the phone, and Constant Battle via the studio
Live
live with,
and live in color.
and he has to go. So
Right.
I guess he's got stuff to do, but we're gonna do a GoFundMe account so that we can get you a 4K television,
Right.
so that because you missed out on the Best Buys
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring that up. Let's not do that.
because his feelings are hurt.
No.
So he can only do he was there sent there to get two, and he can only get one. So Best Buy only
Right.
gave him one. So that was for a special friend or family member.
It was for my mom and myself. I got hers still, though.
Yeah, so that's good. So we have to raise some money up and get you one now.
Right. Exactly.
So, anyways, just want to thank you, Constant
Yeah,
Battle, for
man.
joining me
Absolutely.
for post
Always a
Thanksgiving
pleasure.
Leftovers,
Yeah.
as we do every Black
We
Friday.
invented Friendsgiving. We need our credit for that. We've been doing it way longer than they've been calling it Friendsgiving.
That's right.
We do it every Black Friday. We have for years, easily
Yes.
5 or 6, if not more.
Yeah, for at least 5, I would say.
Yeah.
So Friendsgiving leftovers,
Right.
basically, on Black Friday every year. So, all right, man. Well, listen, I don't want to keep you. I don't want to
Right.
slow down your world.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to thank you for coming out, hanging out with me, man.
Yeah,
once
man.
again.
Always.
And keep it locked. It's the Shawn P Greene Show.
Still, you man. Constant battle.
Constant Battle is in the building,
Yes, sir.
and I hope you guys have a good Christmas and New Year's coming up,
Yeah. Same
and the
to
other
you, man.
holidays that are coming up. And thanks for watching and listening. We're going to be doing some more of this. Somebody suggested backlight, and as you can see, I have a backlight. So
Well, look at that. Listening to your fans.
we're going to get more and more into this. And thank you guys for hooking us up with your listenership, encouraging us to continue. So keep it locked, man. Happy holidays.